Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You're probably wondering why I'm not in snowy and cold Colorado. It's because Savannah and I moved to Arizona on New Year's Day, at least temporarily. We're only going to be here for a few months. But we're out here today in Saguaro National Park, just outside of Tucson. Just going to do a quick little overnighter. We're about 1.5 miles into a 7-mile hike. The plan is to camp at Douglas Springs Campground, which is on the north side of Tinca Verde Ridge, which is kind of behind me here. It's a beautiful spring day here in the desert, so let's go see what we can find. So right here we have a bunch of these prickly pear cacti growing here. And during the summer, prickly pear actually grow these deep red fruit that can be eaten raw. And oftentimes you'll find prickly pear candy in gift shops and visitor centers. And then it's a real popular traditional meal to knock all the spines off and grill the actual prickly pear pads. And this here is called a fishhook barrel cactus, named after the sort of barbed fishhook shaped spines that it has. Now these guys can live for about 100 years, and the yellow pineapple looking fruit you see on top is actually edible, although I've heard online that it's pretty sour. And this here is one of my favorite desert plants. This is the ocotillo. These guys can live for about 60 years, and in the summer they have these red tubular flowers that attract hummingbirds. They're also used traditionally for fencing because they have these really rugged spines, and people with green thumbs can actually make a living ocotillo fence, which is pretty cool. Something else I've noticed are all of these grasses that are pretty hard to miss. I'm pretty sure this is called buffalo grass, which is actually an invasive plant originally brought in to help with erosion control. It just completely outcompetes the native plants here, and it's a really big problem for the park. Another unfortunate consequence about the buffalo grass invasion is that if you look closely, the desert has its own natural breaks in vegetation, and this helps with fire control. If a brush fire were to start in one clump of vegetation, then it would quickly run out of fuel and wouldn't be able to migrate to the next clump. However, as you can see, all this buffalo grass just fills in all of these gaps, making the area much more susceptible to fire. I think it's also important to mention that there are native grasses that provide benefits to the desert in the way of food sources and things like that. So Saguaro National Park gets its name from the saguaro cactus. And there's not many up here, but you saw a lot of them during the intro. Now the tallest saguaros can grow over 70 feet tall and live over 250 years. And the saguaro is culturally significant to the Tana O'odham tribe. Every summer, the Tana O'odham will venture out into the desert and pick the ripe red fruit from the top of the saguaro. They use these long poles constructed from the ribs of a dead saguaro in order to knock the fruit off. And the fruit can be eaten raw or turned into candy or even be fermented into wine. This here is a type of cholla cactus, and these are really cool because whenever they die and dry out, their wood is actually used in things like fish tanks for decoration. So kind of weird that something like this that grows out here in the desert with little water is used for underwater decoration. So what we're hiking up into right now are called the Rincon Mountains. And the Rincons were formed about 10 to 25 million years ago due to a series of faulting. A fault is just a fracture in a rock body where movement can occur. Faults can exist quite locally within a rock outcrop, or they can be quite expansive. I'm sure some of you have heard of the New Madrid Fault system in the Midwest, or the very famous San Andreas Fault in California. So right now we're actually hiking very close to the Catalina Fault, which is the primary fault system that uplifted the Rincons behind me and the Santa Catalina Mountains to the northwest. While this side of the fault is being raised, the side that Tucson sits on is actually dropping down. So relative to one another, the Rincons are being thrust upward, while Tucson is getting lower in elevation with every little earthquake. This mechanism of faulting is the primary reason why southern Arizona looks the way it does. This region is called the Basin and Range Province, named so because of the dozens of isolated mountain ranges that are separated by vast basins. Ecologically, these mountains are often referred to as sky islands because they provide important habitat for animals that would otherwise not be able to exist in the desert. At the base of these sky islands, where we are now, animals like coyotes, roadrunners, Gila monsters, and scorpions thrive. However, the further you go up the mountains, you'll find black bears, mountain lions, pine forests, white-tailed deer, and even the occasional jaguar. Although the last official jaguar sighting in Arizona was in 2015. Now the rock here is called gneiss, although some geologists might prefer the more exact term mylonite. Now mylonite is officially a metamorphic rock. However, it's also been called a fault rock due to how characteristic it is of these large fault systems. If you look closely, you might be able to tell that the rock is stretched, elongated, and deformed, and that's because it is. This rock is formed up to 10 miles below the surface of the Earth, where it encounters incredibly intense heat and pressure, enough to make it stretch like taffy. You can't get the exact same minerals and texture found in this rock on the surface of the Earth. So its presence here today tells geologists just how much the fault has moved material over time. We're almost done with the uphill. We have about 2 more miles till camp. Here's something I didn't expect to see out here. Some snow on the ground. It's incredible that we can see nearly all of Tucson from up here. So we just went through a whole lot of uphill and are pretty beat. So we stopped at this little overlook here, and man, let me share with you how incredible this view is. Me and Savannah were just talking about some meals we're craving right now. A glazed donut or just something really fattening. It's amazing how much your body desires like gas station food whenever you're backpacking. Those rocks look like in Fellowship of the Ring, whenever they're on their way to Moria and they're at camp and the Kraben start to come. That's pretty cool. I think I see the restroom building right there. So close now. Before we get into camp, I just gotta appreciate this like super blue-green lichen that's on this rock. Really cool. Kind of looks like Caribbean waters. Douglas Spring Campground. That's a good sign, literally. Okay, Savannah's back there at campsite 2. Campsite 3 is already occupied. So I'm gonna go scout out campsite 1 and see if that's any better. Well, it has a table, but it's pretty close to the trail. It's got pretty easy access to water over here. Either campsite would be good. Campsite 1 has a table, which is pretty cool. I was gonna say this one has a nice log to sit on, but we have our chairs, so that's all right.
You wanna go to the other one?
I'm kind of feeling campsite 1. I want to know who brought an entire foldable table out here. I mean, probably the Park Service, but you never know. Ah! Fire ants! Oh my goodness. Not sure if we want to put our tent here. Take 2. All right, we got camp all set up and now we're just gonna go explore around a little bit. There is an awesome looking creek not too far away, just like 100 feet from the campsite. So we're gonna go check that out. Oh my goodness. So much water. This is so cool. This is my kind of campground. All right, that was really cool. But now it's time to start dinner. Onions. Man, pickled onions, great choice. Okay, that might have been one of the best camp meals we've ever done. I think I had like 8 tacos. But right now we're just gonna go and see if we can catch a little bit of a sunset. It's pretty cloudy out right now. Regardless, we're gonna go check it out. So I know it's March already and long past New Year's, but since this is my first video of 2023, I wanted to take the moment to reflect back on this past year. Last April, I was able to record my first video on the Tecumseh Trail. And even though I was new to shooting, completing the Tecumseh Trail was a personal goal of mine. Being able to record that experience and look back on it is just a really neat thing. And then sometime after that, Savannah and I moved to Colorado. And even though me and her have been backpacking together for quite a long time, I've never actually lived in a mountainous state, especially one so dense in outdoor opportunities. I'm incredibly grateful to now be temporarily living here in Arizona and see a part of the country that I just have no experience with. But just like Colorado, Arizona is already starting to feel like a second home, and I'm so excited to share with you as much as I can here on this channel. Now, if you would forgive me for wearing my heart on my sleeve for a moment, while this past year has been amazing for me in Savannah, it's also had its challenges. Nearly immediately after moving to Colorado, my grandmother passed away. Losing her was obviously difficult, especially because she was one of the main reasons why I started making videos to show our grandparents, where we go and where we've been. Also last year, my brother-in-law was diagnosed with ALS, which he's still fighting that disease today. Being 1,000 miles away from family during these difficult times It's been really hard, and I'm sure anyone that's been separated from family or friends for any amount of time knows exactly what I mean. To get to the point, what I'm trying to say is that making these videos is very therapeutic for me. Whether they are actually any good or not is a different story, but I hope wherever you are, whether you're separated from friends and family or stressed at work or whatever it may be, I hope you also find some kind of relief in these videos. And my wider view for this channel is to create this positive space where we can celebrate nature and people. I'm so excited to see where this year takes us and how much this channel can grow. And again, I'm so grateful for viewers like you watching along at home, watching me talk about rocks on the camera. Lastly, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Pawpaw. I love you and hope you're hanging in there and can't wait to see you again. Also just wanted to say hi to Maddie and Frank. I love you guys and miss you. You two are some of the strongest people that I know, and I can't wait to see you and the rest of the family again. I think that about wraps it up, so thank you again so much for watching and enjoy the rest of the video. And this here is one of my favorite. And in the summer they have red tubular And in the summer they have these red tubular flowers that attract while Tucson is getting lower in elevation with every little earthquake. While Tucson is getting dropped down with every single movement. Just ran my butt into this yucca and just like stabbed myself. Tortillas fall apart. I need two.
Yeah.
Oh.
Babe!
Sorry. Ah! Man, filming in a tent is difficult. I probably look super creepy right now.
Yeah, you do.
Probably gonna be it for the video. Oh my gosh, I look like a monster.
I know.
Okay, well, good night.